old. It lives in Nashville. Really? You have no thoughts, no questions? I love it. It's fine. It's okay.
I just got one simple question. Since the AI is very popular, I'm kind of wondering, will you use AI? I mean, just borrow something or find some...
You know, every time I go to a recording program and I add anything artificial, it's AI. I mean, I use a lot of AI effects and technology, but I'm not going to use AI for creative reasons. It's just something about right now. I'll leave that to the next generation. But you know, I mean, it's funny you should bring that up because Taylor Swift is an AI songwriter. But the way in which it's done is she has a whole series of producers who send her tracks with no melody, nothing, and she writes lyrics and sings a song. So in a sense, everything you listen to from Taylor is AI, even though that artificial intelligence is actually producers who then are putting things on tracks, sending it to her, and then she gets the writing credit. I'm not putting her down, by the way, because I actually like her. But the point is that that's how she's creating music, more and more. Yeah.
Yes, Professor, that at the opening that you open the book and you read a sentence like, you learn and you destroy. And at which point that you feel that you're ready to destroy? And is your age limit, like, in the past, they would say that, hey, the most creative, period of, a person is like in your 20s, maybe 30s. And then, I mean, yeah, I'm just trying to...
I'll tell you what, this is good. This is a really good question, but I'll ask anybody here if they thought they were living their best life in their 20s. And I doubt any of us would say yes. I think that, the simple answer to that is you never really do know. The great physicist Richard Feynman, right? He said, I don't know anything. He actually said that. He said, I don't know nothing, really. He said, but I'd rather know nothing than believe something that isn't true. And I think that the less you know, the better you are, because the more open that you're going to hear. I know certain things about why. I know, for example, I know why All Too Well is a great song, right? Beginning, I just go, oh yeah, but I can't write it. I know it. I could tell you why Yesterday's a great song. I could tell you, 7, 3, minor 6, 4, 5, cadence back to 1 with the suspension, right? I could tell you all of that theoretically, but I didn't write Yesterday. And I could tell you that Paul McCartney didn't know any of what I know. He doesn't know anything. He doesn't even know what a 7th chord is. So he didn't know anything, yet he wrote Yesterday and Eleanor Rigby and Penny Lane and about 400 other great songs. And he didn't know anything. He literally, if you have an interview with Paul McCartney, you'll go, oh yeah, we found out what 7 chords were. Are you kidding? Think about the Beach Boys. Think about something like God Only Knows, where you have Palestrina and Bach kind of counterpoint. They didn't go to USC, they didn't go to Juilliard. How the hell did they come up with that? And think about Sinatra. How does Sinatra instinctively know how to phrase, I've got you under my skin? How does he know that? I think that there's no age limit. I mean, Verdi wrote Falstaff when he was really in the last 2 years of his life. And it's his greatest opera. I'm 64 years old. I plan on living. I hope. But I hope that I'm able to remain creative. But there's no answer to that question. I don't think there's any hard rule. Yeah.
Yeah. Talking about the creativity. So have you had a situation that the project deadline is approaching and there's nothing come out from you, like a creative block? Have you experienced that? Like a lot of authors, right? Sometimes they can write a very fantastic book, but after a couple of years, there's like nothing come out. Have you had that kind of experience?
I was watching this documentary on Andy Warhol, and one of his biographers said that Andy was asked that, and that he quoted Stravinsky, and he said, "I wait." He said, "I wait like an insect waits." You can't force it, you know. You can't force it, man. But boy, when you get an idea, you got to run with it. But you can't force it. And you know, there are times when you have to say no. Like you know you can't do something. I had that at Princeton. I had a student. She wanted to do a hip hop thing, and I mean I can fake hip hop, but I had an assistant, you know, that was working under me, and I just said, "Go to him. He'll do the job for you." You know, sometimes you have to know when you're not there. You know, I don't think I've ever missed a deadline, but that's also because I'm insanely responsible. You know, like insanely responsible. But Princeton trained me for that. I'll never forget. I'll tell you just a brief. You know, Princeton's crazy. Like the amount of work that we have to do is sick. I mean, there's no way of describing it. But I remember my office was across from the head of my department, and this woman is never without a cup of coffee. Never. All right, never. And I come out of my office and I look, and her door's closed, and her coffee cup is at the door, and she's not there. She was so exhausted by the end of the semester that she put her coffee cup down, locked her door, and forgot that the coffee cup was there and just walked away. And that may seem like something that people do, but I'm telling you, that woman is never seen without that coffee. And that's sort of the way you are presented with work to do, you do it. You're a craftsman, you know. I mean, it's funny because when you will say that about whenever she lines work up, she always knows that I'll bring the deliverables. You know. The question is, here's even a better question though. Can you do it and still have complete integrous quality? That's a hard question. You know. But I know a lot of tricks. Like I know how to yeah. I'll just do this real briefly. The piece that I was going to play for you was music that I wrote for a theater piece, and I looked at the lyrics, and I had nothing. I had nothing, and I mean nothing. I'm looking at these lyrics, and I'm like, nothing. So I turned to the student and I said, "Sing the lyric. Here. Just sing the lyric. Sing whatever you want to sing." A man on fire knows. That's good. Sing the next one. A man on fire. How evil of me. Yeah.
One more.
Yeah.
So a lot of classical musicians, like, especially play piano, violin, cellos, like famous, like top musicians, they cannot compose, right? I mean, like for me also, I have the same problem. Like we have been like thinking about why, and because we kind of like always practice like one reason, and then our mind is like blocked. And it's kind of like a curse. And how did you break the curse?
You know, Gene, I've been thinking about that a lot because Seymour Bernstein said that about Evgeny Kinsin. Because he said, you're such a great pianist, why don't you go write something? And Kinsin said, no way, there's something that we all have to remember. that from 1790 to 1830, there wasn't a whole lot of music written. So what is Beethoven going to do? He's got to write his own stuff. Because there's just not a lot. I mean, how many pieces of Mozart and Haydn can you do? Right? And so he started writing. Chopin's the same. Liszt was not only writing, he was writing other people's music for them. You know, with the paraphrases. He would do the opera paraphrases. So a lot of times those composers were great instrumentalists, but functionally they had to write because there simply wasn't enough music. And so we have this wealth of Western European art music. How many pianists are going to write a better concerto than Brahms 2 and Rachmaninoff 3? Where do you go from there? So we're in a very different place now, where we have this extraordinary body of work. We don't need new composers who are performers. We need great performers. You know? Does that make sense? Like you don't need to be a great composer. You need to be a great violist. The composers will be there. Tell me one great composer today who's a great pianist. But you know, then you go into, you know, Rachmaninoff. By the time Rachmaninoff dies, it's over. Right? Nobody's going to write like that. I have a fantasy that Yu Zhiwang, the queen, the queen. I have a fantasy that Yu Zhiwang is going to commission me to write a concerto. And you know what I would say? Hell no! How am I going to write for you? Who can play like you? I can't play like you. You'll be looking at it. You'll learn it in 3 days. You see? It's a very different world that we're living in. You know? We have different disciplines. But here's where it's going to happen, though. When we get tired of hearing Rachmaninoff third, which I can't imagine. But when we get tired of how many people can play Rachmaninoff third really well. You see what I mean? And then somebody's going to come along and say, we need to add to the body of work. But right now, I don't know. I really don't know. How do you know something as simple? I mean, like that phrase, that opening intermezzo of Brahms. I don't know. I'm not sure that right now there's necessity for it, and I think that might be the reason. I know that's not the answer you wanted to hear, but I think that it's a kind of a collective training. Composers are composers, instrumentalists are instrumentalists.
So you are more as a composer than a pianist?
No, I'm a jazz musician. And that means I can do anything I want. You know, you could be a classical musician all you want. God bless you. I love it. I love it. You know, that's the best. When do you have anything to add? No. Yes, you have a question.
So how can we develop our music taste?
Listen.
Because there are so many different genres.
It's better than searching the internet. Listen. Go to concerts.
Where to begin?
I tell you, man. I would start. You know what I would do? I'd go home and listen to the Bach D minor concerto.
How do you come up with that? If you have nothing more?
No, but that's why you came and I'm talking. That's why. So I would go and I would listen to the Bach D minor concertos. First thing I would listen to. It's so cool. And then, I listen to Mahler too, every day. But you'll lose your mind listening to it. You know, 4 hours later, you're like, oh my God. But I would go listen to Bach. Another great jazz musician. Yeah.
So, I'm the mother of a 9-year-old who's really into music. He wants to learn like instruments of all sorts. Plays like piano, violin, and he wants to learn the art which doesn't have time for it. Which
He should learn it. You know,
Yeah.
but I want to get back to your question, but I need to say something. I have got to thank, and I do this all the time, I want to thank the Chinese American community for all the support you folks give me. I really, you have absolutely no idea how much I love and appreciate you. Absolutely. I just want to say that right before we get out. Yeah.
So, you have your fantasy of Yu Zhiwang commissioning you to write a concerto. I have my fantasy of maybe like writing cadenzas to, concertos, because I feel like so if saying that you went into violin, I feel like the world does not need another little young prodigy of some sort, that they're just, you go on YouTube, every new prodigy is better than the last, right? So so how do you go about getting that education to do that?
Do you think that we need more violin material? That we need more violin repertoire?
Me or?
No, yeah. You're a violinist. What, do you think we need more violin repertoire?
I mean, there's the standards, like, there's like the main pieces, and then a lot of like ones that aren't as famous. But I mean, it's always nice to have more, I guess.
The reason why I asked is because compared to the piano, the violin does not have the same amount of repertoire, right? But that's why I asked about the violin. Here's what I think. If I were him, right? If I were to try and direct him, and remember, this is just a suggestion because I don't know anything really.
Which about?
This is what I did. This is what I did with my son. He picked up a guitar. He was really talented. I got him training. He's now a world-class rock guitar player, right? Okay. What did I do? I said, hey, Drake. As long as you play that note, you play those notes, nothing bad's gonna happen. You ready? Yeah. And he just started playing. He just started riffing on the guitar. He learned how to improvise before he learned how to compose. Teach him how to be a great improviser, then he'll learn how to compose. Beethoven was a great improviser. Mozart was an incredible improviser. Bach was out of this world. Liszt was a ridiculous improviser. Liszt is my favorite. I like Liszt because like he was a character. I don't think I would want to hang out with Beethoven. You know what I mean? hey, it's not fun. But Liszt sounds like he would be cool. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Teach him how to improvise. Let him go learn how to just play. We're playing the piano, we're playing the viola, we're playing the violin.
Are there certain like classes or build-up of classes that would help, like composition, music theory, and all that stuff?
He's 9?
He's
9?
sitting right.
What school district is he in?
Princeton.
Send him to the jazz band.
To Princeton. There's a
Princeton High School.
Princeton High School, send him to the jazz band.
It's a very developed jazz program.
Even if he's just sitting there listening to it.
They have a Jumpstart summer.
what's
Called
like.
Jumpstart, I'll talk to you.
Yeah.
Cool.
That program is incredible. Really incredible. Okay, folks. Well, Mass is ended. Go in peace.